and for God to speak to us in such a clear way that will come out and really be different. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for a day like this. Thank you for being here today. Thank you that you are here with us already. Now, Spirit of God, we ask that you will release your word and you will cause that word to become life to your people. You will cause that word to revive and regenerate the spirit of life in everybody. Father, you will cause your grace to come with the word. And you cause the impartation of your word to lift your people to a new height of achievement, of ministry, success. And you will change us in your presence. And you will cause that change to be everlasting. And you will not just change us, but you will turn us into a world changer that will go from here and change our world and our environment. We thank you and we trust you for that. In Jesus' name. Amen. Before I tell you the topic that I'm speaking on, I would like to tell you a fact that I've discovered in ministry. As a young minister, we all yearn to meet with men of God. And especially when you are zealous and when you are really passionate about serving God. We're dreaming of meeting all the people we read about in the newspapers, in the magazines, and we see on the TV. We're all constantly dreaming of meeting with the men of God, with the anointed men of God. But you know what I discovered from my experience? The more I meet them, the more disappointed I become. I don't know if that's your own experience, but that's my experience. And if you ask Pastor Mike, he knows me very well. If I think anything, you hear it. I don't think inside, I think aloud. I'm trying to be transparent, and I don't hide things. So what you see is what you've got. So and the point is, that is so bad, because for young ministers or even for believers, looking forward to all these men of God, and you think you are just going to see an image of God, or you are going to see an example of Christ. But in most of the cases, at least in 90% of the cases, all the men of God that I've been dreaming about meeting, each time I meet with them, I get disillusioned. I get disappointed, because you see things that you don't expect to see. And the standard you thought these people were supposed to be maintaining they were falling far below and behind it. So and the reason is what I want to talk about today. The reason is very simple. The reason why that kind of thing happens, I wonder if that has never happened to you before. I think it might just has happened to you as well. You know, I've met a lot of men of God all over the continents of the world, and in different places, and I know maybe at least 50% of all the people God is using in the world today. So I know what I'm talking about. So and that's a matter of concern, and the reason is because men of God that we hear about have attained an amount of success and fame without building a foundation of character. So if you want me to talk about leadership, the aspect of leadership that I want to talk about with you this week, is addressing the question of the value and the importance of character. The value and the importance of character. You see, it's so easy to, especially when you live in America. America is a success-driven society. It's a success-driven society. It's a society that is driven by achievements. So anybody that is successful here is hailed. Anybody that is achieving anything here is crowned and is almost like a king. And until you begin to achieve something, you are nobody. But when you begin to have results in this society, which is good, you are rewarded for it. And people honor you, and people respect you, and people. So because of that atmosphere of the society we live in and the demand to be successful, sometimes what we actually strive and look for is not the passion to serve God per se, but the passion to be successful and to bring significance to yourself and of course to God. But sometimes we cannot really find where the difference is. We actually attain and strive for us to be something, and because we know that's when all the recognition come, and that's when all the fame and the applause come our way. But in the process of that, in the process of trying to be something or trying to be somebody, we sometimes forget to lay the right foundation of values and character in ourselves that will sustain us when we're at the tip of our success, of the success we've been dreaming and striving towards. So the thing I said, for example, is so glaring even in this society. And as like I was just reading the Newsweek of this week Newsweek or last week's Newsweek, and we were writing about the story of is it Foley? Yeah, Foley. So that person, for example, is just a glaring example. The congressman that Mark Foley. So his example is just an example, a clear example of how leadership is supposed to go alongside character. Character is more important than position. And we need to begin to realize that if you don't pay enough attention to character, and I read the story of the guy, of Mark Foley, and you could see it was success driven. It was, he knew how to be successful in the American society. And he had his target, he had his goal, and he attained his goal. He got to the height, to the pinnacle of success in this country. But the one thing about negligence of character is you will get to where you're going. But it is when you get there that what you didn't put in place will catch up with you. So that's exactly what happened to him. He got it all right. He got to a leadership position all right. But it was when he got there that he discovered that no, he needed not even to have got there in the first place without the character. So it's just like what Jesus was saying, that it's better for you not to go to it's better for you to go to heaven without your eyes or with your legs than to go there with those, to go to eternity with those things, but then you end up in hell. This is very similar to what character does to, lack of character does to people. If you lack character, you will regret having the success. You will regret having the achievement. It might not be glaring. Some people will never be discovered in this world. Some people will never, they will never come to a place like that Foley came to, especially men on the pulpit. Some men of God who are, we think they are sound because they are speaking sound things. Really, they don't have character. And they will never be exposed. And they don't really need to be exposed. We are even praying that they will never be exposed. But really, people around them will feel it. And they are infecting and actually injecting poison into all the people who see the wrong signals and signatures in their characters. So, but the way I would like to address this question is this. I would first of all like to talk today, this first session, on the topic, what is not character? Because sometimes the best way to find out what something is to find out what it is not. So this time I'm going to first of all address what is not character before I, in the second session and tonight, address the question of what is character. So we're going to start from identifying what is not character. So first of all, I'll give you several points. Number 1 point, character is not temperament. Very often, even me personally, for a long time, I thought that character is synonymous as temperament. Most people think so. Most people think, that's my character. If you tell them anything, well, that's just my character. That's just the way I am. That's just, because they are telling you how they are built up. They are telling you of their temperament. So if you say, Why are you always quiet? Oh, that's my character. No, that's not your character. That's your temperament. That's not your character. That is your that is how you carry yourself. That's how you are made. That's how you are built naturally, biologically. But that is not character. Or somebody could say, "Oh, you are so alive. You are always happy." Oh, that's my character. Or if you talk of another person, some people say, "Oh, Pastor Sunday is always alive. He's always happy. He's always oh, that's his character." I mean, that's not your character. That's just my nature. So your nature is not the same as your character. It's important for us to get that right. So your character is not your nature. Your character is not your temperament. Character is totally different. But you see, like I said, we are starting out by saying, by defining what is not, what character is not. So temperament, we have four main, is it five? Four main categories of temperament. So you have the cholerics, yeah? Cholerics, sanguines, and then phlegmatic, melancholic, yes. So you have those, but that's just your nature, really. But you are not. That doesn't define your character. Now, the reason I'm saying this is, for example, I was growing up in Africa, and I got saved just 6 months before I left Nigeria, and there is a particular denomination where I got saved. I was only there in that church for 6 months, but I managed to hear and see a lot of things before I left the country. So in this particular church, this pastor was such a holiness figure kind of pastor, and so it was quite upright, and because I think it's more like melancholic kind of pastor, maybe not melancholic, but what was the other one? Phlegmatic kind of. But so because he's always quiet and slow speaking and slow talking and always walking like this with the hand behind and just phlegmatic kind of way of life. So people all over that particular church, even at times, it seemed as if all Christians all over the country were thinking, if you are a man of God, if you are supposed to be holy, you must behave just in a similar way like this man of God is behaving. So you must be quiet, you must be slow talking, you must, put your hands behind your back, and you must walk kind of slowly. So, because people think that is holiness, you see, because they are looking at the outlook of the man, and they are thinking, oh, if you really want to be man of God, you must be slow talking, quiet, really, gentle, and so what I discover is that no, you could still be like that and not be holy. So that is his temperament, and you don't try to make everybody have the temperament of one person. So what I believe is this: like I am wild because I'm what do you call it? Choleric. This is my Russian. Choleric. I'm choleric, and God made me to be choleric or sanguine. The reason why God made you to be like that is because God knows God made me to be emotional, to be loud. God could make you to be, noisy and to be agitated and to be, to be active. But that doesn't mean that you are unholy or you have bad character. No, that is just your personality. So if that's your personality, what I've discovered is that God wants me to be noisy, to be loud, but having godly character. So in my noise, and my noise is supposed to glorify him. My temperament is supposed to depict his image. My character, my nature, laughing or everything like that, that is supposed to bring the life of God across and the personality of Jesus. So I am made well. I am the way I am made is who I'm supposed to be. I'm not supposed to get converted to Christianity, then change my personality and say, no, now I'm quiet, now I'm melancholic. No, in that way I abuse the creation of God and the trust of God. God makes him to be melancholic because that is the best way he could express the image of God and the personality of the character of God. I mean, he should still build the character of God into his into his melancholic nature and express God from the melancholic point of view. And so it's quiet, but if everybody becomes melancholic like that, people will not understand God, because God is supposed to be diversified in people. People are different, and you are supposed to be able to express God in his own, into different group of people. So that's why we are built with temperaments, and we are built with different natures and personalities, so that we could bring God into our personality the way we are, and still express God with that kind of life and with that kind of personality that we have. So personally, when I go everywhere, I am noisy. I laugh. I roll on the ground. I do everything. And God is no less than he is with the melancholic guy with the hands at the back. So we should understand that, because what my character and my personality in God would depend not on my temperament, but on how much God I have been able to package into that nature that I have, into that temperament that I have. So temperament is not the same as character. You still have to build character into your temperament, and you still have to bring the personality, the character of God into the temperament that God has given you. So I tell you, just relax, just be who you are. Don't feel you must talk like that and slowly and just try to No, that doesn't make you to be better than anybody else or to be worse than anybody else. Just be yourself the way you are supposed to. You are made. That is, God knew you before you were formed, before you were born. He knew that is the best way you could express him. So don't deny him. Don't tell him that he's wrong by making you like that. So I'm an expression of that, and I'm an example of that. I can make noise. I can do some crazy stuff. People who know me know. I can do real crazy stuff. And then I'm still a man of God. I'm still as good as any other person that is melancholic or that is slow talking or that is. So, that's important, because you can only be best in the nature that God has given you. You cannot be best in another person's nature. Your best is you. Your best cannot be you trying to be like any other person. Because that almost killed me personally when I got born again. For that 6 months that, thank God, God delivered me and sent me out of the country. For that 6 months that I was in that church, I thought I was going to. In fact, I was happy before I got saved. Now that I got saved, I lost. I lost the joy and the fun because I thought there was no fun again in God, and that being a Christian means lacking fun and lacking, not joking, and not. I thought I was going to die. I was going to suffocate, But really, because it was the wrong understanding, you see. So people see those kind of some men that they respect, and they want to, pattern their lives according to their personalities. No. The main thing we're supposed to pay attention to is character, not temperament. So, and if you are pastor, don't make your people feel all like you. Make them give them the freedom and let them know that the way they are, their nature, that's the best thing they have to, and that's the best instrument they have to express God. Let them be free to express God just as they are. Okay? Now, so character is not the same as temperament. Temperament is your biological build-up, but still, you still need to build in character into that temperament. You need to bring the character of God, character of Jesus into it. Now, number 2, what character is not? Character is not the part of your life that is sin. It's not the character, your character is not the visible part of your life. It's not the part of your life that we see, that is sin, that is visible. That is, your character is not your ministry. Your character is not your works. Your character is not the fruits of your ministry. Your character is the inner man in you that only you and God know. Now, that is what I started this story, what I started this message with, that when I meet a lot of men of God, with a lot of fruits, right? With a lot of results, with big names, when you meet them and you get closer to them, you discover that, oh, I can't believe this guy has this kind of things in him. Because we have given, we had the understanding, our understanding or our mark or our evaluation of the man is based on his fruits. And because we see the fruits of his ministry, or we see the outcome of his ministry, or we see the outward part of his ministry, we think that is who he is. But most of the time, it's not. Most of the time, the fruit that you see from outside and the ministry and the result of the ministry is not equal to the personality, to the character, to the level of character, to the inner man, to the hidden man inside that man. That's why people get disappointed when they meet men of God who behave, less or at a lower level than the reputation they have. So your reputation and your character is not the same. So your ministry result and your character is not the same. I will not mention the name, but there's a famous man of God that we received one time, and we were all, the whole city received him, and we were all waiting for him. And before he came to the stage, this man with miracles and everything, but he was almost beating up everybody, and you will not believe it. But if you see him from the TV or from magazines, you will think this is almost Jesus in the flesh. But so why the difference? It's because we are judging him from the results of his ministry or from the publicity that people have. So things might be working out for you. You might have results, but that doesn't mean that you're okay. And that doesn't mean that your character is good enough. There are people who have big ministries, and if you listen to them talk to their wives, you'll be scared. If you listen to them talk to people close to them, because they didn't develop the character. They don't have the character. I will still go into what is character, right? But I'm telling you what character is not. So don't normally judge people because by what they have, or by the results in their ministry, or by the works they do, or by the results they have. No. And don't judge yourself by the results you have. Judge yourself by the quality of the inner man. Judge yourself by what you do when people step on your toes. Judge yourself by what happens when your son or your child does something that you don't like. Not by the magnitude of your ministry, not by your fame. Yeah, we all know it. We all know it. We know who we are. You know who you are. Now, the question is your reputation, the truth of what you know about yourself, is it corresponding to the reputation that you have built around yourself? Now, there was a time I began to tell God that, God, all these people think I'm important. I don't want to be famous. I don't want anybody to know about me. I don't want anybody to say all these good things about me. If I am not if inside me, I know I am not to the level. I am not the same as these people think. So all the people, all the time people think you are up there. I tell God, I don't want to build the reputation of being up there, and in your own eye, what you think is that I'm down there. I would rather be up there in your own eye, but then for people to think I am here in my reputation. But you say it's the opposite in most cases right now. People have fruits and they mistake that to be the same as being proper and as having normal and good, character. No, as men of God, as ministers, we must begin to work more on making ourselves and the ratio of our character to be the same as or to be as close as possible to what people perceive us to be. And we must begin to work more on our inner qualities than on our outward results. Most of the things that ministries do and men of God do really is to work more on how to have more results. We put a lot of effort into that. We spend a lot of money on that. We make a lot of publicities. We go to study, to learn, to read on how to be big, on how to really build a big ministry, on how to grow, on how to do all these things. But really, inside, at times we are really very shallow. And these kind of things, they affect you later on, or they affect the people around you. You see, somebody once said that we teach what we know, but we reproduce who we are. I think it's important to note that. We all teach a lot of things. That's the next point. Character is not what we teach. Character is not how eloquent we are. Character is not how fluent we are. Character is not how knowledgeable we are. Our character is not the same as how much revelation you've got. You know, at the time, as a young minister, I used to think, if I have all this revelation, then I'm okay. If God is giving me all these revelations, and then I must be fine. But you see, as time goes on, you discover, no, I can have all these revelations and still not be all right with God. So your character and who you really are is not the amount or the level of revelations and the eloquence of your preachings. That is not you. Let me tell you who you are now. You are that person inside you that God knows and that you know. So it's not your revelation, it's not your eloquence, it's not your knowledge, it's not all your wisdom. I see men who say such brilliant stuff, and you'll be surprised that they don't even live according to those things they say. So that the bottom line is, you can have good revelations, good wisdom, great wisdom, wonderful knowledge. You can teach excellently. We teach what we know. It's not a big deal. But we reproduce who we are. You only reproduce who you are. So people around you will become like you. So wisdom is, so character is not your wisdom, it's not your knowledge, it's not your fluency, it's not your teaching, it's who you are. Of course, I can give you a lot of, if you want. You are pastors, maybe some of you might be people who like to write all the scriptures down. If you want, let me give you all the scriptures if you want. The first one is Psalm 23, verse 7. The second one, 1 Samuel 16:7. The third point I made is 2 Timothy 2:15. The next point is Matthew 5:43 to 48. Now, your character is not how you relate to your friends. Your character is not how you relate to your relatives, to your family members, or to your church members. You know what true character is? Your real character it affects how you relate, not just to your relatives, to your friends, or to your church members. It's also how you relate to people out of your family, or out of your church, out of your immediate company of friends or relatives. So, because as pastors, you will understand this. For example, if I go to the mall and I meet somebody from my church, how do you feel when you go to the mall and meet someone from a church? You are excited, you are happy, you greet them, hi, hello. But when you meet someone from another church, the joy is not the same, isn't it? You still greet them, hi. Oh, this is from, what church are you from? I thought you were from my church. Oh, you're from another church. Oh, okay, nice to see you. So now the person who you had greeted from your church with such, joy and enthusiasm and everything, the person thinks you are like this. You are the best. But when you meet the same guy, but it's not from your church. We don't really know how great you look. But if you meet that person from your church and the other person from the other church, and your joy, your expression, your satisfaction, you are just happy the same way because they are all in Christ, you see. They are really all your brothers and sisters. Really, before God, there is no difference. They are really the same family members. So if your joy and your satisfaction, your result is really your enthusiasm, your joy, your appreciation of them is equal, it's the same, then you have built a strong man inside you. Then you are a big man inside. Then you are really big in the real sense. Now, let me go beyond that. That your character is not just how you relate, because the character have to do with how you relate to people around you. But it's not just how you relate to people you know, or your people from your family, or you're from your church. It's not even, character also involves how you relate to unbelievers. You know, you see, it says God loves the world so much, he gave his only begotten son. Then it says God is sending sun and rain to all alike. So you think about God, no, but these people hate you, but these people don't like you, these people are working against you. How can you send rain? And some of us want to send curse and want to send some thunder upon the people who don't like us. But look at God. He is the same. His attitude is the same. His response is the same. He loves. When he says he loves, it's true. He loves. And it doesn't matter if you love him or you don't love him. He loves you. So he's not changing according to your relations or attitude to him. No, he says he loves you. Even when you leave him or when you are with him, he still loves. He is just love. So he's not saying, well, because you don't love me again, no, so I stop loving you now. No. So it's the same with us. So how we relate, sometimes some of us will never be able to win our cities for God. You know why? Because we don't embrace them. Because we don't really love those guys who are not saved or who are not our church members. We love the people who are our church members. When we see them in town, we want to hug them. What about relating to everybody in your city like you relate to your church members? What about just going to greet everybody, even if they don't know you, your neighbors? Saying hi to them, giving them gifts, relating to them as if you are related to them. They will come to your church sooner or later. They will want to know what makes you tick. They will want to know why you're relating to them so well. Because it's coming from the heart. If you really love your city, you will want to relate to even unbelievers as if they are your relatives. That's what Jesus had when he said, he saw, when in Matthew chapter 9, he says, he saw all the people, and he said they were like sheep without shepherd, scattered and spread about, because he had compassion on them. But some of us, we don't have compassion on people who these are unbelievers. We don't have, but Jesus had feelings to them, for them. He had compassion on the unsaved, on the people who are supposed to be lost. That is love now. So you know, if I talk about love, and I say I love people, I have to gauge my love according to different level of things, and that's character. You see, it's not easy. It depends on what you have built inside. It depends on the quality of the man inside. For example, everywhere I go, I notice something. Because I'm Pastor Sunday, everybody wants to respect me. And I tell you another thing I noticed. Before, I used to travel, I travel a lot. I used to travel just like the Americans travel. You know, before, when I came from Africa, at first, I was traveling like when I go to the airport and I want to travel, I used to dress up. Like I was really going out, you know, to an occasion. Yeah? That was when I left Africa. But when I came to Europe, I saw the way Americans and Europeans dress when they're traveling. They just make it casual. Should I say, well, why dress? Why make yourself heavy? So I just began to go casual like everybody else. Then you know what I noticed? I noticed that at the borders, especially when you travel a lot internationally, especially when you travel to not black countries. And yeah, like any country, but mainly when you travel in Europe, where I'm from, and when you travel a lot all the time, I noticed that the attitude towards me is too ordinary. And in most of the cases, especially when I'm traveling in white societies, the attitude towards me is always the delegatory. I mean, what they call it? Derogatory. So they always, kind of, I'm not important. And but because I have white members, and I noticed this because I began to travel with some of my members who are white. Then I see that they question me a lot because I see I have Nigerian passport, and then they just interview you, they just delay you, just treat you anyhow. But the people who are my team members, who are carrying my bags, but because you are Europeans, they just so I'm being delayed and they are going. So one of them even told me one time, I said, Pastor, you need to begin to really pick the pieces, because so they come now and we begin to talk to them and say, you don't know who he is? Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. So because the white guys come and talk for me, then they allow me. They will come and say, these are just my members. These are my people. I say, oh, you don't know who he is? Oh, then they begin to release me. Then I say, So I got smart. So now that I travel, when I want to travel anywhere, I dress up the best. So I return to my African method. I dress up like you. Like you. So I dress up real good. Even here, just yesterday I flew in from Dallas. Just looking, not much, but something like this. But, this is already much in America. So I coming to the airport, even people I don't know, they say, oh, hi. Hello. Everybody started respecting me now. But all the guys used to say, even at the border, the people remove your bed, do this. Hello, sir. Can you please remove your children? Everything is different. When I wanted to do ID sometime here in Florida, and the first day I went, there were long, you have all the Mexicans doing ID now. So there a long line of queue and line of people. And I couldn't get in that first day. So the second day, I remember my strategy. I got smart. I went and dressed like Pastor Mike like this. So, I've got some bright colored suit like that. So I went and put it on. So that second day I came, very important. I'm very serious. Looking straight. Know what they did? The policeman let me in. And I got my papers done, fixed. You might not like it, but that's a fact. Yeah, you get results. So, people relate to you differently. So, but we know that character is not how. Character is really how you relate to everybody, the same as believers. But the world relates differently. So, if you wanted to relate to you, where you dress somehow. But so what I've discovered is that as Pastor Sunday, that's the point I wanted to make. I come to a place when people know I'm Pastor Sunday. Everybody wants to respect you. But I cannot understand that in Christianity, you see. Like when I come to church, like to your church or any church, everybody wants to carry my bag because I'm Pastor Sunday. But you don't want to carry the bag of the other guy in the street. Oh, because he's just brother. We should pay attention to that. Okay, one day I was talking to a friend of mine who is a pastor here in America. He said, I want to travel with you, Pastor. I want to begin to travel with you when you travel. I said, okay. So he's always trying to respect me and trying to. Then I noticed that it's not the same to all the other guys, because the other guys also they are pastors, but they have pastors of small churches. And then I said, why do you? So I was raising the topic with him. Why do you think you must relate to me like this? Just let's be friends. Don't think I'm not anybody. We're just colleagues. So he was saying, oh, Pastor, no. You have something which is a principle which is right, but sometimes we corrupt it. He said, you have something, you carry something that I need. So I must relate to you like that. But then you don't relate to other people with respect at all. And God will not give you, because you are being biased, and that's not who you are inside. It's because of what you want, you see. You understand kind of thing. But for me, I respect everybody. It doesn't matter you have 10 people in your church or you don't have anybody. But in my own understanding, everybody, so I was telling him, everybody deserves to be honored and respected. He says, honor all men. That's what it says in Peter. He said, honor all men. So it's not just the kings. He said also in that place also, he says, honor kings. So the big guys who have things, but honor all men. So you have the right to honor kings only when you have honored all men. So I tell him, I feel, in my philosophy is this. Of course, I respect people who have things that I need, but I want to respect everybody first. The reason is because, in my own understanding, what makes you valuable, what makes you respectable, is not what you have. Because you might not have that in tomorrow. So so what happens? It means you don't deserve to be respected tomorrow. What makes you respectable to me is because you are made in His image. And that one quality, just that one quality, is enough to earn everybody a place of honor. So for me, everybody deserves to be honored because He is the express image of God. He is made. God is in Him. So that's my own attitude. So people who know me, people always say, or if you read about me in the website, people say, Pastor Sunday is so simple. It's approachable, and everybody, it's just with everybody equal. Because of this philosophy. Because I don't want to see what you have or before I begin to respect you. No. Now, can you imagine one time I was in Israel. Then there was a group of Nigerians that came there. And so I knew they were Nigerians because the way they were looking, they're dressed. And so I went to them and said, oh, you are from Nigeria? They said, yes, the ladies. And I said, I'm also a Nigerian. How are you? Greeting them, just trying to be nice. And, because when I see people who are from my place, but because I'm from, maybe people, you don't need to be like that because you see all Nigerians all the time. But I don't see them where I come from. I don't get to see black people at all. Even when I see any black person, I want to run to them. I think they're from my village. So I still have that nostalgia, kind of. So I went to them trying to say, I'm from Nigeria as well. Oh, okay. They took their bag and they said, oh, okay. I said, oh, well, just trying to talk. Okay. Then I knew I needed to introduce myself now because they were embarrassing me. The same thing at the airport. Some bishops' wives, if I mention the name of the bishop, you know, she was pulling the cards and I recognized her and said, oh, at the airport in Amsterdam. I said, oh, hello, ma, and, I'm a Nigerian as well, and hello. I said, oh, okay, hello. I said, no. Then I began to introduce myself. So these people in Israel and these people, they are all Christians. So, of course, I couldn't be a thief being in the airport. I couldn't be a thief buying my ticket to Israel and, but just because I'm nobody, because you are nobody. And the same thing in America as well, Just because I'm nobody, but Nigeria, so it doesn't matter. Then I began to say, I'm Pastor Sunday. Have you heard of Pastor Sunday? He said, no, the one in Russia. Yeah, I'm the one. He said, yes. I said, yeah, look at the magazine if you want, or the photograph. Oh, sorry, sir, man of God. Yeah. Oh, I'm lucky. Oh, God, pray for me, pray for me. Because they feel if I'm Pastor Sunday, what would ever make me to go and meet them or greet them? Because these are just ordinary women. Pastor Sunday would never come to, let me carry your bag, let me help you to do this. How can I carry their bag? They don't even. So, these kind of things are so, they are so rampant, in the prevalent in the body of Christ, that we don't even notice it again, you say. So people want to respect men of God and everything. I'm looking at that different. If I cannot respect you because of who you are, if I cannot just be around you, if I cannot just be normal, because I need to do it because you are my big man, then something is not right in me. So I was telling my pastor that it's good that you are trying to serve me, you are trying to do all these things, but I don't like it, do it to the other guy as well. Do it to anybody in the church. Huh? Yeah, it's a kind of hypocrisy, really. But it's not, they don't see it that way, but they need to see it. And maybe they don't mean it for good, for evil, but this is part of character, because when your character is all right, when you are really built up the inner man, when you are really genuine, when you are really sincere, and when you really have the servant heart, it doesn't matter who you serve. You don't just want to serve the big guy. Because it means you want the guy to recognize you or to give you something. And that's exactly what Jesus said we shouldn't do. He said, don't invite people who could invite you back, he said. And don't do things to people who could, return it back to you. But that's what we do all the time, he said. Especially when you go to Nigeria, When I go to Nigeria these days, I can't believe it. Everybody, but you don't need to do that. Forget it. You don't do that to a lot of because you are somebody, you see. So we have missed that. There has to be a balance, definitely. But still, your heart has to be like that. It's not just what you do. Because the guys who do that, later on they will put knife at on your back one day. They will stab you one day, because they have to do it because they think it's culturally acceptable. But character is something else. Character respects all. Character honors all men. You see, that's what Peter was trying to encourage us to do. He said, honor all men. Honor all men. Honor kings as well, but honor all men. Just do your duties. He wants you to have the character inside you. Okay, let's go ahead. Your character is not it's not your potentials. Oftentimes we think, oh, I know I can do this thing. I know, I sense I have the ability to do this. I have the potential to do this. So you would think that's who we are already. That's our character. That, your character, no, I feel I can do this, I'm able to do this, I'm able to do that. That is your potential. That is what you are able to do. Yeah. I know I can do that thing. I know I can, but you are not it yet. Most of the things that you think, I know I can do. All of us, really, potentially, we have the potential to be good. All of us. We all have the potential to be kind. Yes. We all have the potential to be, benevolent. We all have the potential to really be honoring and to have great potential. We have to have great characters. We have the potential. But you see, character is the potential that you have already maximized. Character is the potential in you that you can do, that you are already doing every day. Character is not that I was good yesterday and I know I can still do it. But character is, are you good now? Are you good every time the occasion demands for it? Are you really kind every time the occasion demands for it? Are you really genuine every time the occasion demands for it? Are you really real and original every time the occasion demands for it? We know you can do it if you really want. We know you have the potential to do it. We know, you have the ability to do it if you want. But do you really want? Do you really do it? Are you really kind? Do you really do those stuff? Just like in the family. All of us have the potential to to be kind to our spouses and to help them in the kitchen or to help them do some things at home or to take care of the kids. But do you really do it? Now, the difference between doing it and having no, I can do it is character. You must be able to do it. If you don't deliver, you are not as good as you think you are. So character is not that potentially you could do this. Or it's not what you think you can do, you will be able to do tomorrow. But is what you are right now. Is what you are right now. So the level of that character development that you have right now is who you are. Forget about the fact that I teach it, I know it, I can do it. We don't care that you know it, you can do it, you teach it. Are you really being it now? Who you are right now, what you are being now, is what is the level of your character. Is how developed your character is. Now the next point. Character is not how you act. It's not how you act only, but character includes your thoughts, your motives, and your attitudes. Especially motives, thoughts, attitudes. It's not just how you act. Some people can act very well because they are very smart. They know exactly what to tell you when. They know how to answer each question. They know exactly when to be kind. They know exactly when to behave well. But character is not just the fact that you are behaving well. Character is not just the fact that you are... okay, for example, I used to teach our pastors about the fact that they need to minister to down and out people, to the outcasts, to feed the poor, change their dress. Go to the bums in the streets, change their dress and barb their hair and do things like that. And they say, and I give them my testimonies that when we did that our church grew from 7 people to 1,000 people because, But you know what I discovered? People began to go to do that kind of thing, to feed the poor, just to have members, you see. He's doing the thing, he's carrying out the act, and if you just look at the act of what he's doing, you could think, ooh, this guy has such a great heart. But really, the guy is after membership, you see. It's really, if that thing is not going to give him membership, he will quit doing it. That kind of thing. So that's what I'm saying, that your character is not really what you do at a point. Is what is the motive behind? What are the motives behind that action you've just taken? What is your thought process at that point? Why are you doing exactly what you're doing? And we have a lot of those kind of people in church today. People come to church, they serve, they try to do everything because they want to be noticed, you see. Some people come to church, they do everything because they have an agenda. But that's not their character. That's not who you are. That's just what you do, but that's not who you are. That's not your character. You've not developed that character. So these things are what character is not. All right? The last point. No, not the last point, but the next point. Character is not who you are when all is well. Character shows more often under pressure. When you don't control things. When you don't have time to think right. When you don't have time to think it out and work out the consequences of your actions. That is who you are right now. That is your character. When you are under pressure, some people, I've seen, I don't know if you have, I'm sure you people have seen this. I've seen pastors who teach so strongly about love, who teach so strongly about, wonderful Christian characters and values. But, for example, in Ukraine, I don't know, and I think in America it's the same thing, but in Ukraine we have a saying that says, wherever you have 3 Ukrainians, you have 2 kings. Can you get the consequence of the saying? If you have 3 Ukrainians, 2 of them will claim to be kings. That is, they split all the time. Nobody submits to anybody. Everybody wants to be the boss. So if you have three of them, two wants to be king. So who you be king over? So, well, so because of that saying, we have a problem of churches splitting all the time. So your Nigeria, the same thing, because we are zealous and we are, enthusiastic and strong. So because of that, churches often experience splits, church splits. This pastor that I know that has been talking about love, great character, great stuff, Christian values, as soon as somebody leaves them to start his own church or our own church, they are it's almost brimstone and fire that is coming out of them. They are not going to heaven. You are not going to heaven because they are haters of brothers, and they teach so wonderfully until it affects them. You will be surprised how many people will not go to heaven. Because if you think you are once saved, ever saved, you wake up one day in hell. Yeah. So if you don't have that character, if you don't build it in, if you don't work on it, you are killing yourself. So these people live in such hate. They will not go to that church, to the other guy's church. They will not even greet the guy if they meet him in the street. Or if the guy even comes to greet them, they will just say, they will not even reply. They will even, these are pastors. Now, what happened? The person just split the church and took half of it away. Is that because of that's why you're driving yourself to hell? If it split the church, is it your church is split? It's not God's church. So we have people like that. So the point I'm making is, people can talk everything they want. People can. Character is not the teaching people give. Character is not the talk people talk. The character is not the ministry they have. It's not the reputation they have. It's not the other stuff. That is why I started with that story. I said that as a young minister, I've always had this desire to meet with men of God. But unfortunately, the more I meet with men of God these days, the more disappointed I become. Because these things don't just line up. The character is not the same as the ministry. And you know what people advertise? They advertise the fruits. They pay a lot of attention to the accolades. They advertise the results. They magnify those things. And we think that is who the people are. The amount of the fruit is not always equal to the quality of the person. And the magnitude of the ministry is not always equal to the quality of the character of the man. But we don't want to be like that. Let's be who people perceive us to be. Let's just be real and genuine. Relax. And work on yourself, on the inner man. I heard what Pastor Adelaja one time says, now it has got to a point that if anybody comes to you and introduces himself as a pastor, that you want to run the other direction. In Nigeria, he was saying that. Somebody will come as a pastor and say, I'm a pastor. So you begin to think, maybe before I open my eyes now, my bag is disappeared or my church is gone or something. So we must correct that kind of thing. Because in my own experience, coming from Nigeria to Russia, when there was no church there, and there were 300 Nigerians came that year, and several of them were Christians. And, especially when you get to a place like that, when Russia, when no church, no pastor, 20 years ago. Not now, 20 years ago, things were really rough. That is when you really know if you are Christian or not. I tell you, 99% of the Christians who came to Russia at that time, some of them died alcoholics, some of them just backslided, and some of them became, just carrying women and things like that, from little things. Because the characters were not developed. And today, sometimes, I go to pastors' meetings with Nigerians, because this is a Nigerian basic meeting. And when you go to pastors' meeting, sometimes, in fact, one time I took some of my pastors with me, and we went to Nigeria at a pastors' meeting. The person said, I'm from this corporate world, from a secular world. He said, in all my 20-something years in the corporate industry, I never saw such a strife in a meeting. And this is a pastor's meeting. Because the men that are manning the pulpit, they don't have character, you see. So people who are just from, can you imagine, just coming from Africa, right, to America. Ordinary people here are not saved in the street, right? Sometimes their level of integrity is higher than some of you who are born again, speaking, and, bona fide Christians. Some people will say something and they will not do it. They don't have character. And what alarmed me most, what really amazed me, and, I was alarmed by this fact, is that in our churches, because in our church, but thank God we are not in Nigeria now, but this will be good for Nigerians. People in that country, people will be teaching all kind of things on faith. God will give you miracle, breakthrough. God will do this for you. A year long, those kind of similar things. Maybe healing, maybe prosperity, maybe miracles, maybe some things like that. But never on, and people, the pastor might never for a whole year talk on this kind of thing at all. In fact, some people could go to a church for 10 years and never hear any teaching on character. Then we wonder why we have so many Christians and the society is not changing. Because only a refined and reformed character can be able to change a society. A society is not developed by the amount of mineral resources they have. A society is not developed by the amount of money in that society. A society is developed on the level of integrity and honesty that society is built on, by believers and unbelievers alike. So if any society succeeds in building a high level of integrity and honesty society, even if it's the poorest country in the world, they will have the best economy because people are sincere. So when they sign contract, it will be completed, it will be carried out. But even if you have the largest amount of money in any society, when you know that you sign contract, someone else will steal it. There is no way there will be development. So nations that develop, development in nations is not as a result of raw materials, natural resources, or wealth in that country. What develops a nation is the amount of integrity and honesty that society is built on. And if all body of Christ doesn't teach these kind of things, we only teach promises and immediate gravitations, and we only teach self-gratifications and things like that, and just hoping for God to give you things and to receive things, and like America as well. All the word of faith guys, or all the prosperity preachers. I'm a prosperity preacher to some extent, but not like that. People are just promising you claim this, receive this, and forgetting about the inner quality of the man. So, and that's what is giving birth to this kind of ministers, that you're surprised what is happening. Some people can tell you something, and it will, they don't even mean it. Especially in America, they say, "Oh yeah, call me, right?" They just said, it's just like they are just giving you a compliment, but they don't really mean that you should call them. So you call them, you say, "But you said I should call you." "Oh yeah, did I say that?" "Give me a call." They say, "Okay, I give you a call." "Oh yeah," because people don't mean it. That's lie and deception. People lack character and integrity. So what character is not? So let me give you a brief definition of character. Character, therefore, could be said to be one, the ability to reduce the dictates of the flesh, or the opposite, the lack of ability to resist the dictates of the flesh. Galatians chapter 5, verses 19 to 21. The ability to reduce or resist the dictate of the flesh and ego. And ego, yeah. Number 2 definition. These are my definitions. I don't know the dictionary definition, but this is what I've observed, and these are the definitions I've come to. Number 2, character is the ability or disability to overcome the animalistic instinct of life. The animalistic instinct of life, and be governed or ruled by common sense. 1 John chapter 2, verses 15 to 17. So that's the ability or inability for you to overcome the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life. It's the animalistic instincts of life. Is the ability or disability to overcome the animalistic instincts of life and be governed or ruled by the common sense. First John 2, 15 to 17. In conclusion, I would like to say that your character determines where you spend eternity. Not your temperament, not your fruits, not your results, not your ministry. Let me come again. Your character is what determines where you spend eternity. Not your fruits, not your results, not your ministry. That's why Jesus said in Matthew chapter 7, verse 22, that some will come in that day and say, Lord, Lord, we did this in your name. We cast out demons in your name. We healed the sick in your name. And he will say, depart from me, you workers of iniquity. I do not know you. So that is to say, you could have everything all right with ministry. You could have all this reputation. You could have all these results. You could have all this glamour around your personality. But that don't take you to heaven. Hello? It doesn't take you to heaven. You know what does? Your character. You know, in this country, I know, not personally, but I know of at least 5 ministers that got a divorce. Pastors. These are TBN pastors, bishops, people on TV. Yeah. I know at least 5 of them that got a divorce. Like today, I'm married in between a week and 6 months. Some of them, in fact, at a point, one pastor, famous pastor, came on to the stage and said, well, God has just given me a revelation that, I should marry this other lady. And the wife, that I should remove remove her from the stage. And they married the second Sunday. And other bishops will go and ordain them. And bless them. So why is that happening? No character. Now, I mean, you cannot tell me that you marry. I mean, you just divorced a week ago and you married this week, and I bet you've been living with that guy before, that lady before. You know, it cannot be true that you've not been living in sin. You know, those kind of things are rampant. You know why those kind of things happen? Character. But I tell you, the bottom line, which we sometimes don't want to think about, is your character takes you to heaven or to hell. It's not your ministry that takes you. I want to repeat that. I could have 10,000 people in my church, and I will still go to hell if I don't have character. He said, depart from me, not because you do miracles, not because you cast out demons. Depart from me because you are still a worker. Yeah, you use my name to do all those things, but you still remain a worker of iniquity. Keep on practicing iniquity. If you do that, yeah, you could do all these great things in my name, but I still don't know you. You will not go to heaven. Listen closely. Character is important. Character matters. Character matters. Character matters. You know, Pastor Adelaja will remind you this. I mean, he will remember this. He came with me to Nigeria one time. Somebody invited me to preach in one place, and I begged him. I said, I've never been to this kind of Nigerian meetings, so because I've been preaching in Europe. I don't know how they respond to me. Please come with me and help me. Come and give me advice how to minister in Nigeria. I've never been. Funnily, I'm from Nigeria, but I've not been ministering in Nigeria. So he went with me. So one time I called him. I mean, we were talking about a lot of men of God in Nigeria, and he was telling me he's such a he is well brought up, so he's well behaved. Unlike me, I'm a hooligan in the pulpit. Hooligan for God. He's well behaved, so he will be telling me of all these men. He'll be telling me of all these men of God, what they have done and all these things. So one time I told him, I said, Pastor, I don't even desire, because I know some facts about those men. Because I had some few encounters with a few of them. So I said, I don't even desire to know or to spend time with those men. I don't even want to. The whole world is dying to see them. The whole world is ready to give up everything to see those men of God. But I said, I don't even want to see them. I said, I want to call you my friend, because I've seen you. I've seen your character. I've seen your integrity. I would rather identify with you. People want me to be identified with those kind of guys because they feel we're in the same category. I'm supposed to be identified with big guys. I don't want to be with big guys again. I don't want to be friendly with big pastors. I don't want to be in the club. I don't want to go about with it. I don't want it. I don't want to. I want to be with these little guys who are pure. I want to be with the little guys who are sincere, who are hungry after God, who are passionate. I don't care for all those your papa and baba. Carry them with you. I don't mind them. I don't need them. I want to be with ordinary guys who are nobodies, but who are after God. I don't know if you remember that. One time I said, I would rather be with you than all those your papa and babas and carry them. I know things about them because I don't care. Why should I be striving to go and identify with somebody that God is not identified with? You think God is identifying with them because they have results. It's not the same. Believe me, I have results. I have a big church. Our church is regarded to be one of the top 10 churches in the whole world. One of the top best churches in the whole world. If you come to our church, if you have been there before, maybe tonight we'll show you the video. It's a good place, but it's rubbish. Because if I don't live right, I could be standing before you and you think that's Pastor Sunday. That's his job. God is doing something to that banner. But if I am sleeping with my secretary, and you will not know, you will think or if I'm just living in unforgiveness, or if I live in hatred, or if I live in anger, or if I live in pride, or if I live in self-affirmation, You think I'm great, but God knows I'm not. Because the gifts have done that. The grace have done that. But that doesn't really have any relation with me at all. If I die, he will still say, I do not know you, despite the fact that you did all those things for me. Yeah. So I see a lot of guys, a lot of men of God with a lot of regalia. I see them with a lot of regalia and titles and real respect. People, the whole world respecting them. Now, I don't want to be respected. And then God will say it's an abomination in my eyes. So a lot of men, a lot of us, Christians, we are prostrating at what God is thinking, abomination. And we're all saying, man of God, man of God. We're all dying to prostrate before what God, in God's eyes, is just abomination. So what kind of ministry do you want to have? What kind of ministry and reputation do you want to build? Do you want to build a reputation and a work that what you see outside, all the glamour, all the noise, all the results, all the fruit, is exactly the quality of the man inside? Or you want to build, you don't care what is the quality of the man inside. You just want to build a thing, just for the whole world to be clapping and shouting and singing, hailing you. Good for you.